It's very crucial for any country to possess records and archive center that is functional and reliable to a bigger extent, intended to enhance and ensure smooth communication flow within the government agencies in order to support quick decision-making amongst the key influencers. Whenever there is a delay in decision-making within the internal government structures, in most cases, it has a very big impact on the transactions taking place within the country. In Uganda, records management has been majorly on paper basis, which is highly associated with a high degree of bureaucracy and at times loss of potential and referral documents. In the initial stages, the government, with the support from the World Bank, constructed the National Record Center and Archives Phase 1, which was under the Ministry of Public Service, to decongest registries and record centers and also assure proper storage and preservation of the archival holdings of Uganda for posterity. But as a result of the weaknesses witnessed, young innovators Kibaya Erisania have decided to incorporate a system, the Electronic Documents and Records Management System, designed with an intention of ensuring proper and accurate management of government records. They take us through their core inspiration.
What inspired the eDocs project is the realization of the need to improve the way government does business. As records management professionals, we realize that one, records management processes are key for government to deliver its services, because for every transaction that government does, there has to be documentary evidence. So as a result of that requirement that is inherent within government operations, over time, government institutions accumulate a lot of records. And they have set aside what we call registries, central registries or central security registries. Some of them are called open registries. The difference between the two is the open registries have relatively open files or open information, whereas the security registries have classified information. Now, if you went in a registry at any one time, a government registry, you will see piles and piles of files of paper that evidences or provides evidence to what government has been doing. So for every transaction, every decision that is taken in government has to be backed up by documentary evidence. One, for legal purposes, two, for posterity, three, as good business practice. You need to keep records. So we realize that because these records accumulate over time, they run issues or risks or dangers of accessibility. The rate at which these documents are accessed determines the speed with which a certain decision will be taken. There are a number of decisions that are delayed because somebody who is supposed to take action on a certain matter does not have the requisite information as yet to support the decision that you're about to take. So amidst all that, we had already been consulting in the records and information management area for the last 15 years in this country and abroad. And then we realized a need for us to intervene and help government streamline the records management processes. And that's how we came up with this idea of creating an electronic document and records management system, whose major objective was to ease the processes of records capture, records storage, records retrieval, and disposition. Now, in government, the Ministry of Public Service is at the forefront of managing records management processes within government, both central and local. So we had to now go into a collaboration between the Ministry of ICT, the Ministry of Public Service, and us as developers to come up with a Ugandan tailored records management system that is suited for government of Uganda operations. So the core objective that really sparked us off to developing this was the inherent desire to see government run effectively, to see government service delivery being smoothened. And also it is in line with the government digital transformation program. The government digital transformation program is aimed at ensuring that government services are digitalized so that people can access the services online, and this can smoothen the curve or can quicken the speed with which the public accesses government services. So that was the motivation behind the development of e-docs as a system of government.
Way back, Uganda attained its independence. Records and archives were already being kept in the protectorate. The process of Uganda keeping her records started in the 1950s, and they were being kept at the Protectorate Secretariat in Entebbe. At independence, the archives became government archives under the general purview of the Department of Management of Information Services in the Office of the President. At independence, the archives became government archives under the general purview of the Department of Management Information Services in the Office of the President. With this history, over time, record keeping in government is evolving, the breakthrough point being the electronic documents and records management system. So should we expect the system to revolutionize government ways of operation?
Digital transformation is a reality across the globe, and Uganda is not going to be an exception. If this country is to develop, if this country is to harness the benefits of what we are calling the fourth industrial revolution, automation of these processes is a must. And this is where we come from as Info Consults and the product that we are, our flagship product, eDocs. We envisage all government entities using eDocs plus one. The speed at which decisions will be taken in government will drastically be reduced. The time it takes for the bureaucracy to take action will drastically reduce. And then number two, the efficiencies will naturally improve. I'll give you an example. Currently, in the current setup, if you are, say, in a Molata and you are a public servant, you need to write resignation from service. You ordinarily write your resignation notice, come and submit it to the Ministry, say, of Public Service. You have to board a bus, get to Kampala, submit your letter, go back to Amolata. They will tell you follow up after a month. After 1 month you follow up, they tell you the file onto which your letter was filed is not yet seen, or it is with the commissioner. You are losing productive hours. So productivity is going to increase because the service is going to be accessible online on the internet. So for as long as the user has access to the internet, you can follow up and you know where your application is. You can make a call because once you submit, as of now, you get a transaction code. So a transaction code is a point of reference that you can use at any one point and then follow up on the submission that you have made. Now, on the part of the government bureaucrats, it will make it easier for them now to make decisions that are backed up by information because they now have access to information at the fingertips, as opposed to now the current setup where a government bureaucrat has to wait for a file to come to their desk for them to take action. Most of the time, we blame government bureaucrats thinking they are not taking action, but they are delayed by the processes. If he has no file, then he has no basis of taking action. Now, with the automation of government registries, we will have through a secure link all files online. Now, meaning an action officer is able to access files at any one time, be it on a weekend, be it they're on a government trip, they can still be able to deliver service. So we're going to have an uninterrupted service delivery by our government bureaucrats, and hence improving the overall service delivery in the country.
Building and formulating systems is quite a process. Many local innovators never see the reality of their craft to come to manifestation due to limited funding and attention given to the local innovations. Where did the journey of the electronic documents and records management system begin?
In 2019, we had already begun privately the idea of developing an electronic document and records management system. 2018-2019, government gave a call-off of innovators, people who had innovative ideas that government was willing to fund. So we applied to the National ICT Initiative Support Program in 2018-2019. Fortunately, our innovation was considered. We gave them a proof of concept. We already had some prototype of how a product like this would look like. So they picked it up. Once they picked it up, they gave us seed funding. Together with our own resources, we now enhanced on the team of developers to now look at the detailed development processes of having a fully fledged electronic document and records management system in place for government. So by and large, it has taken us about 2.5 years to have the product to where it is. Within those 2.5 years, we have had a lot of engagements with the technocrats in the Ministry of Public Service. They have come in handy because, like I said initially, government records are a mandate by Minister of Public Service is mandated to manage government records. So the technocrats in the Minister of Public Service have been helping us a great deal in walking through a step-by-step approach and authenticating all the workflows, the encryption algorithms within the application that we have developed. So yes, 2.5 years, that's where the product has reached. And we are happy and confident that now going forward, this is a system that government can now roll out across all ministries, departments and agencies and local governments. And this is going to enhance the service delivery and enable government to execute on its mandate of providing services to the citizenry.
Let's take a look. Electronic document and records management systems are computer-based systems designed to store a wide range of electronic documents and file types. These systems can store documents, files created from a variety of programs, including Microsoft applications, Adobe applications, email, video files, audio files, and many others. Numerous organizations have started scanning their paper documents to store them electronically, and the system offers the ability to save these documents in a location that is secure, searchable, easy to use, and can manage the life cycle of the document automatically. Kibaya explains what we should expect with this system.
Digital transformation is a reality across the globe, and Uganda is not going to be an exception. If this country is to develop, if this country is to harness the benefits of what we are calling the fourth industrial revolution, automation of these processes is a must. And this is where we come from as Info Consults and the product that we are, our flagship product, eDocs. We envisage all government entities using eDocs Plus. One, the speed at which decisions will be taken in government will drastically be reduced. The time it takes for the bureaucracy to take action will drastically reduce. And then number two, the efficiencies will naturally improve. I'll give you an example. Currently, in the current setup, if you are, say, in a Molata, and you are a public servant, you need to write resignation from service. You ordinarily write your resignation notice, come and submit it to the Ministry, say, of Public Service. You have to board a bus, get to Kampala, submit your letter, go back to Amolata. They will tell you follow up after a month. After 1 month you follow up, they tell you the file onto which your letter was filed is not yet seen, or it is with the commissioner. You are losing productive hours. So productivity is going to increase because the service is going to be accessible overline on the internet. So for as long as the user has access to the internet, you can follow up and you know where your application is. You can make a call because once you submit, as of now, you get a transaction code. So a transaction code is a point of reference that you can use at any one point and then follow up on the submission that you have made. Now, on the part of the government bureaucrats, it will make it easier for them now to make decisions that are backed up by information because they now have access to information at the fingertips, as opposed to now the current setup where a government bureaucrat has to wait for a file to come to their desk for them to take action. Most of the time, we blame government bureaucrats thinking they are not taking action, but they are delayed by the processes. If he has no file, then he has no basis of taking action. Now, with the automation of government registries, we will have through a secure link all files online. Now, meaning an action officer is able to access files at any one time, be it on a weekend, be it they're on a government trip, they can still be able to deliver service. So we are going to have an uninterrupted service delivery by our government bureaucrats, and hence improving the overall service delivery in the country.
Electronic document and records management systems often provide a wide range of searching capabilities that make it very easy to locate needed documents within seconds, compared to minutes, hours, or days to locate paper records. The system allows you to search on keyboards, titles, all metadata tags, and also full text searching of the text inside of the actual document. This allows users to search an entire document repository of an organization quickly, thoroughly, and efficiently. Kibaya now takes us through on how this system operates.
So, like I said, the electronic document management system is a web-based application. Web-based meaning that for as long as you have access to a device that has a web browser, an action officer in government or any other private entity is able to access the records or the documents or files online. So all you need to do is come up and fire one either web browser. It could be Google Chrome, it could be Edge, any web browser. So in the web browser, you type in the address edocsplus.info. edocsplus.info is our testing platform. We do not want to run this demonstration on a live system, so we're just walking you through a demo on our testing server. Now, once you log in, you get a login screen. Like you can now see, this is an electronic document and records management system. It has the logos and colors and emblem of government of Uganda, because like I said, this is a government of Uganda product. So you have a username. Every user will be registered on the system. When we register you on the system, we give you the rights and privileges of the system commensurate to your seniority. There is certain information that an ordinary officer in government will not have access to. There is another classified level where probably only we have designed this electronic document management system with a permissions and privileges approach, where we have classified different levels, and each level has access to certain critical information. At a certain level, you can access probably a certain grade of information, because government information is classified due to confidentiality and other security protocols. So when you log into the system automatically will give you access to what you ordinarily are supposed to view under your day-to-day operating procedures. Now, if you are, say, a senior officer, or you are a principal officer, or you are a head of department, or you are a permanent secretary, or you are an honorable minister, the system will give you the view of information depending on the privileges that have been set in the system. So we register users, we create user accounts. So when you log into the system, it will ask you for your email address, which will be your user account, and then a password. This is to avoid anybody just getting into your system. So we can just log in using a demo account that we have in the system at edocs.go.ug, and then we input a password. So once you enter your username and password, the system will log in and then give you a view of what you're supposed to see. Now we can see here we have logged in as a head of registry, say at Ministry of Public Service. This head of registry at Ministry of Public Service has a lot of functions that they can be able to execute from within the system. One key module that is of interest for this particular demonstration is the registry module. Now, this registry module, this is where you have all functions related to a registry. Now, in the registry, you can have access to the files, meaning all the files in the registry are now on the system. You can transfer files. Transferring files means files that have transitioned from a state of being active to semi-active are transferred from a registry to what we call a record center. Then from a record center, they are transferred onto the archives. So we have a national archives, which is seated next to Ministry of Health. So this is where all these processes now have been automated. And then you have emails. We foresee a scenario where going forward, you no longer need to come and submit a physical copy, but you can now submit by email, and then it will come directly to the registry. This will significantly cut the costs of a user having to travel, say, from Koboko to Kampala to submit a document. So you can submit them in the email. When they come as emails, then the registry team will pick them, and then they go into the process workflows. Then you have another functionality called My Tasks. This is where all the tasks of an individual will be logged. So when you log into the system, you will automatically see all the tasks that have been assigned to you by your supervisor displayed on the screen. And then you can click any of the tasks. Now, these tasks come with a priority. They come with a priority. The very urgent tasks are flagged red. Those that are not so urgent are flagged amber, and those that are normal are flagged green, to enable a user to know what to act on immediately and what not to act on immediately. So this is a screen view of a head of registry. Then once you've logged in, you've taken action on what it is that you need to take out, you come and log out. So once you log out, then the system logs you out. You can again probably log in as a PS. So if we are logging in as a PS, the PS is the permanent secretary at a government entity. You will have a different view of the system once you log in as a permanent secretary. Now you can see for the permanent secretary, you don't have a registry module. Reason being, as a permanent secretary or head of entity, you have nothing to do with the registry. All you take care of is documents coming for your action. And you can see there's already a document that is pending the action of a permanent secretary. These are the priority colors that I was talking about: very urgent, urgent, and normal. Now we can see that this one is normal. And then now the permanent secretary can open up that particular document and then assign it to different users, and then say, so and so, please take action. And in a minute, that officer will have access to this particular document and take action. So this is in a span of less than 2 minutes from when a document comes into the system. The permanent secretary is notified that there is correspondence for his or her action, sends it to head of department. Heads of departments could send it to other action officers depending on the subject of the particular correspondence, and action can be taken and feedback given. So this system is going to drastically cut the time it takes for government officers to take decisions, and it being web-based, it gives us an additional advantage that if you are, say, on a trip in Dubai, you are still going to have access as long as you have your internet connectivity. So the issue of, say, a government officer is in a workshop and therefore is not able to attend to your query is now going to be an issue of the past. So action officers will have access to their registry, they will have access to their files at any one time in their location. Now we have files. A head of department will have access to all the files in their department. Now we have designed this system with a cautious approach on how government operates. Key among government operations is the issue of security and confidentiality. So as much as possible, we have ensured that the issues of confidentiality and security are paramount in our setup and architecture of this system. Now, a head of department can only view files in their department. If you belong to, say, a planning department, you cannot view files in a finance department. If you are in finance department, you cannot view files in human resource department. Now, that is to ensure that everybody takes control of their own files. If you need a file that does not belong to your department, then ordinarily you raise what we call an access request on the system. It is approved, and then you can get access to the files that you need. So with this system now going forward, users will be able to access information as fast as possible. They will take actions as fast as possible, and the issues of confidentiality and documents leaking will be an issue of the past, so documents will no longer be getting lost, and then government generally will improve its service delivery framework.
We have just observed the operations of the system, and now the question is, will the government embrace this trend? Barry J. Andrew, SMARTEC.